It is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That, of course, very classic stuff from one of the all-time leaders of heavy metal. That, of course, was Diamond Head, and that was It's Electric. And on the line right now, we have the electric leader of Diamond Head. We have the one and only Brian Tatler. Brian, how are you, man?
I'm good, thank you. What a lovely introduction, Chris, on the what did you say? I forget what you said, but it was a nice introduction. Thank you for that.
Sure. Well, I'm a big fan, man, and not just because of the Metallica tie-in, but I'll admit that, like everybody else, I discovered the band through the Metallica tie-in.
Yeah.
And there's just so many great songs in you guys' past, man. It's a shame more people haven't explored past the songs that Metallica covered.
That's right. So many people do get into the band through Metallica, but I'm just grateful for that, really. I mean, if it hadn't been for them covering Diamond Head, then they wouldn't know the band existed, because we never got over to America when we should have done in the 80s. We signed to MCA, which was an American label, but we signed to the UK counterpart, and then we never managed to get over, just a lack of good management or something. But we should have toured the States when we were in our 20s. I mean, it would have probably blown our minds, but better late than never. And I think thanks to Metallica covering the songs and bringing attention, we can afford to come over now, because so many promoters are willing to put their money on the line and bring us over, because they probably think, well, I've got a fan base now, the songs have become kind of iconic, and we put on a good show, so hopefully people will enjoy it and come watch the band. Absolutely,
and that is the main reason that we're talking today, is for the first time in quite a long time, Diamond Head is hitting the States. You're touring in support of your I guess it's not new anymore, but your most recent self-titled release.
Yeah. It came out last year. It's called Diamond Head, yes, and great. So we'll be playing songs from the new album as well as the classics, and come and check it out.
Sure. Now, Brian, what are you expecting coming to the States, from the audiences? Are you expecting them to know, they'll obviously know some of the songs, but are you expecting them to know a lot of the songs, or are you expecting it to almost be like, even though it's been this many years, like you're introducing the band to, a new collection of fans?
Well, we have been over a few times in the past 5-6 years. We came over in 2011, twice in 2013, and we came over twice last year. So I kind of know what to expect from an American audience, and it's similar to a European audience, really, in that everybody knows Am I Evil, and then a lot of the people know 3 other songs that Metallica covered, but they also, very often, they know Heat of the Night, Lightning to the Nations, so they know quite a few songs from our catalogue, and the reaction we've been getting from playing the new material has been really good, and even to the point where some people have said, can you play more songs off the new album? Can you play this off the new album? Oh, I love this, I love that. So that's very encouraging. And the press for the new album has been so good that it's given us a lot of confidence to carry on and do more and keep it going.
Sure. And there's, for people that have not heard it, there are just a lot of just fat, chunky metal songs on this record. Songs like See You Rise or Shout at the Devil. I mean, they're just like powerful tunes, man. It's some really good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I didn't know, if everybody'd like it. You kind of make a record. You have to make a record that you like. And I don't think we could second guess what everybody wants, because things have changed so much, haven't they? And bands using like really deep tuning and 8-string guitars, and it's no point me trying to compete with that. I just want to make a record that I like, that I think's exciting. I think our new singer who joined in 2014, Rasmus, is fantastic. So I get a lot of energy from the vocals and the way the song works and the guitar riffs. So it sounds great. It's a good sounding record, and the songs work really well live. So I'm happy.
Excellent. Now, Brian, I did see that you guys are playing the Rocklahoma Festival this year.
Yes.
What are you expecting from that crowd? Because that's obviously going to be probably the biggest crowd that you'll see in the U.S., I would think, right?
Definitely. Well, it's the first open air festival we've ever done in the U.S. We did one festival in 2002 called Metal Meltdown, but that was indoors. But this is a proper giant outdoor festival, isn't it? With I know Def Leppard are on the Friday and Soundgarden are on the day we're playing on the Saturday. So it's going to be a big event. We've played big events before in Europe, but we've never done anything like this in the States. So we're all really looking forward to it. It was the first date that came in. It came in early this year, January, something like that. And so we built the other dates around it, and we're all really excited to be playing Rocklahoma. It sounds great, and I've heard some really good things about it already. So we're looking forward to that. We set off tomorrow morning, and our first gig's Wednesday evening.
Okay, excellent, very cool, man. Now, Brian, let me ask you. I was reading some press, getting ready for this interview, and I saw this quote from Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, where he said that his three influences as a musician were Paul McCartney, Jimmy Page, and you. When you hear things like that, what do you think, man? Because obviously he's a legend in his own right, and certainly McCartney and Jimmy Page, that's really good company to be in,
Very, very good company, and I'm very flattered. But what can I say? The guy, it's up to him. If he wants to name check me with the greats, then I'll just take it. I'm very flattered. I'll probably say I don't deserve it, but if Dave Mustaine says I'm an influence, then I must be an influence. It's very nice of him. He's always been a really nice guy to me, and we've supported them. We did a big tour across Europe where we did 22 nights with Megadeth, and it was a great tour, and it's so helpful, and I got a chance to, hang and talk, and he went out of his way to try and make sure the tour was good, and it was a good experience for everybody. So, I owe Dave.
Excellent. Well, he sure does have good words, and that can never suck when you hear high praise like that, from a guy of that caliber.
That's right. Now, what can you say? It is a lovely quote.
Sure. Excellent. Well, Brian, no secret that a lot of bands, not just Metallica and Megadeth and whatever, but there's been a lot of bands that list Diamond Head as an influence to them. And I'm curious for you and specifically for you, because you came out in a time that in a wave of music that really changed how hard rock heavy metal was seen. Who was it, or what band was it that influenced you when you guys were creating such a different sound that really was not out there before you guys?
I don't think there's one band. There's a load of bands, of course, growing up in the 70s. I think the 70s was the best time for music, in my opinion. You've got all these incredible bands, your Zeppelins, Purple, Sabbath, and you've got AC/DC, Judas Priest, UFO, Rush, Van Halen, etc., etc. So many incredible bands. And I think we took all that on board. But we also had the punk rock happening in the UK in 1976, 77. So I was interested in all that as well. and I think that gave us some energy. It kind of brought it back down to a street level where it seemed like it was possible to do it yourself, make your own record, get on stage, play in a little pub up the road, just not wait. I mean, not wait for a record deal or anything like that. Just go now. Just get on with it. So that was a real kick in the pants for Diamond Head, the punk rock movement. So although we kind of wanted to be like say Led Zeppelin, for example, we kind of knew that with punk rock you could just do it now, make your own record, and see what happened. Just get cracking, really. So it was a big impetus to all of us, and I think ultimately we kind of we took it forward, in terms of speed and energy, and we added, with a young band, you've normally got a lot of energy, so we took that onto the stage, and people just enjoyed it straight away. We could go and play to 200 people we'd never played to before, and win them over with our enthusiasm and an exciting kind of show, and that's not easy to do.
Sure. In that era, and you know what, I'm going to turn 49 this year, so I'm just a hair too young for that era. I really got into metal about 82, so I literally just missed it. But what I've always been curious about is, and all the names, Def Leppard or Saxon or Maiden and you guys and Skeleton Witch, bunches of different bands. Was it a rivalry? Did you guys all know each other and try to compete to be better than the other, or was it more like a family where you all were trying to break out together, or what was that scene exactly like?
I had no idea that all these other bands were around the country doing their thing. I think that we'd all grown up listening to the 70s bands. We all wanted to do something similar. And then it took Jeff Lewis and Jeff Barton at Sounds to come up with the name New Wave of British Heavy Metal and do a feature on the scene, and indeed kind of almost invent the scene. Then suddenly we're aware that there's bands in London, there's Angel Witch, there's Praying Mantis, there's Iron Maiden, etc. And then we realise in Sheffield you've got Def Leppard, and all these bands suddenly start appearing in this local, Sounds magazine or broadsheet. So I thought, okay, there's all these other bands doing it. We're doing it. We're all the same age. We're all doing roughly the same thing. We all sound slightly different, which I think is fascinating. But we're all kind of heavy metal. And I thought this is a brilliant opportunity for Diamond Head to get some press, to get noticed, and to hopefully get a record deal or get something, get round the country, support one of these big bands that we like. And that's pretty much what happened. There sort of became a label stampede to sign each of the bands. Def Leppard signed to Phonogram, Iron Maiden signed to EMI, and we were desperate to get signed as well. So it was a brilliant time. There wasn't any rivalry in that I didn't know these bands.
Okay.
I'd listen to their records and I'd listen to them on the radio, and very often I would think Diamond Head were better than all of them because I'm 19 and I've got self-belief and I'm arrogant enough to think we can conquer the world. But really, I'm probably still, idolising the big 70s bands, and I just wanted Diamond Head to cut through and get noticed, really. So rather than be influenced by the other New Oberham bands, I'd probably still be influenced more by the 70s bands and the punk scene.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. Now, Brian, a lot of generations have gone by, obviously since that rising, and outsider looking in, it doesn't seem like there is now a quote unquote Diamond Head to influence today's kid that is, growing up and wants to play guitar and be a musician. Do you see any band that is like, really influencing the next wave, or do you think maybe that era is kind of over?
Yeah, you're probably right. I think there's a lot of great bands from the 70s that have been influential, but there don't seem to be a band like them now. I think partly with the genres, people are scared to step outside of if you're this kind of metal, then you daren't do anything different because you suddenly will alienate your fans. Whereas years ago, bands like, for example, Queen would do anything they felt like. They could do a little acoustic number here and a little, ditty there, and it didn't matter somehow because it was just Queen doing whatever they felt like doing. And I think that's gone now. Mm-hmm. The individuality, where it was so obvious you could tell the bands apart. And now you do get a lot of, they've all got drop tuning, the vocals are very aggressive. And it is very impressive, but I think a lot of it's, not as original as it used to be. And I don't know where it's all going. It would be great if there were more, if there was another Rush, if there was another Pink Floyd, if there was another,
Mm-hmm.
Def Leppard, but I don't see them very often.
Sure. No, me either. And it is kind of sad because it almost, I listen to a ton of music, lots of new stuff, lots of old stuff. And it really does seem like this current generation is almost lost because they don't have, and I'll point to Zeppelin as the big one. They don't have a Zeppelin to at least give them a starting point to grow from. You know, and it's kind of sad.
Well, a lot of bands look to Metallica, don't they? They can see the success, and they think that formula works. Let's do something like that. And it's much easier, I would imagine, to do a band like Metallica than it is to do a band like Queen or Pink Floyd.
Sure.
So they do it, they just go after that target, and then suddenly there's 100,000 bands that sound like Metallica. It's strange, but that's what's happened, as far as I can see.
Sure, definitely has. Well, Brian, moving back to the tour, you're going to tour for what? You're touring for a month, and then what happens from there for Diamond Head?
We come back to the UK, and then we've got festivals in Europe. We're doing Norway and Spain and Germany and Belgium and all sorts. Then we've been writing songs for another album. We started that in January. Okay. So myself and the singer have been getting together and working on material. Then we will try and make the start on the recording, maybe in the summer, July into August, that kind of thing. No idea when it's going to be released because we haven't even started recording it yet. But it will, we will be doing a new record, and that's it really. That's our year. We've already got gigs booked up to December. Okay. So when we're not gigging, we're going to be working on writing.
Excellent. Very good, man. Well, Brian, the new record is simply called Diamond Head. It's really, really good for people that have not checked it out yet. You really should, and not just because I have Brian on the phone, but because it kicks ass. So
thank you.
By all means, Brian, why don't we do this? Why don't we wrap this interview up with a song from the new album? I'll let you pick it and maybe tell us a story about that.
Okay, well, my favorite song is track 1 on the album, Bones. It's a track we play live, and when it came together in the rehearsal room, I just got very excited about it, and I remember a fabulous feeling in the room when it finally came together. I'd had this verse and bridge idea for a long time, but it didn't really have a chorus. And then our bass player said, "Oh, what about that for the chorus?" And he played this riff. I dived on it and said, "Yeah, that's great, let's do that." And within half an hour, we had it, and it just felt so right, and it was so exciting to have this track that had a lot of energy. And I thought, yeah, that's definitely going to work. That is. So I have a lot of good feeling about writing that song and it coming together.
All right. Well, let's check it out right now. This is Bones. It's Diamond Head right here on your Classic Metal Show.